What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Seat, your Thursday night addiction. Now, I'm thinking I may have already messed up my YouTube, so hold on. I don't know if I hit mute yet. So, yep, I was on mute. All right, go team. Okay. Bryan, sometimes I'll have my YouTube on because I watch the chat too. And when I get started, there's a little 8-second delay. And sometimes that YouTube starts playing right away. It's such a pain. All right, guys. Sorry we're running a little late. We have little technical difficulties, but we're up and running. Looks like everybody's here. Tonight we have a different kind of guest than what we're normally, visiting with. Usually, hey, Megan Fox, hot stuff. I hope you're talking about me. Appreciate it. Son of a pizza man, I see you in there, guys. It's a little different guest. It's not a cooking guest, not a YouTuber per se. But still great guest, and I hope we all can learn some stuff from him tonight. I've been wanting to kind of venture out besides go outside the cooking creators, and this is what we're going to try it tonight. See how it goes. Bryan is from is it the Dad Up or Dad Up podcast?
Dad Up podcast.
All right, so Bryan runs. Can't got much better. I love it. Bryan runs the Dad Up podcast, and we're going to get into what it takes to run that, his inspiration behind it, what he's looking to get out of it, and all that sort of stuff. I've known Bryan for a long time. Our kids used to play sports together. We've coached against each other. We coached with each other. We broke bread together. We're in church groups together, the whole bit. So I feel like he would be a good one to have on for sure. If you guys have any questions, one of the other reasons I thought this would be good, because a lot of the people watching, and granted it's predominantly men watching, with the barbecue channels and all that stuff. I figured, a lot of us are dads, and even the women in the group are, mostly parents too. I figured this would be a good one to, share your thoughts and ideas on that. All right, so first off, you may notice that Kent has gotten a lot better looking. That's because Johnny Maggs is here stepping in for Kent. Kent had to take a vacation day, I guess, little PTO. So Johnny,
he might be working.
Oh, is he working? Yeah. Bryan, my co-host, likes to say that I work because I work from home. So, all right. So Maggs, why don't you say hi to the people, introduce yourself while I get stuff.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be here, CJ. Hope everyone's doing well. Seems to be a crazy week, and it's just seems to get gonna be crazier from here. This is like something none of us have ever really dealt with before.
Right. So,
between the lives and everything last night, I figured I was gonna try to do a live, and it was, Brother Joe, and then Eric from Camp House, and then Dash. It was right down the line. So everyone's doing lives, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I'm excited tonight for the show because, I'm new to the YouTube game in as far as doing cooks and videos, but I'm no stranger to the barbecue game. But tonight is especially right up my alley because we're going to talk about the podcast, which that's my front, with my podcast for gonna be closing on up 2 years now. So yeah, I got a couple questions of my own, so it's gonna be a good thing.
All right, cool. All right, before we say hi to Bryan, real quick, Dutch is in the chat. See here.
How do you know he's in the chat? Stay out of my chat.
Yeah, hey Dutch, stay out of the chat. All right, so Bryan, why don't you say hi to the people, talk about your podcast a little bit, and go from there.
Awesome. I'd love to. Listen, first of all, I'd like to say, Justin, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it. You and I have known each other for many, many years, and ever since our kids were little, and now they're grown adults. So I appreciate you inviting me on. I really do. And Johnny, it's nice to meet you. So as far as myself, California, born and raised. Spent some time in the Marine Corps. Was in the Marines for 4 years. I got married, had a couple kids, and since then it's just kind of snowballed into now my kids are older. My youngest is 18, so he's about to graduate high school, and my oldest son is about to graduate college. So
that's insane. I can't believe Blake's about to graduate college.
He will graduate.
CJ, can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Blake.
I can't hear Bryan.
I can hear him. All right, so maybe speak. Is it you can't hear him at all, or is he just low talking?
No, I can't hear him at all. It's like he's muted.
He's not. I can hear him just fine. Well, we'll just have to do some relaying, okay?
Okay.
I can't figure it out on the fly right now. So, Bryan, we'll come back to talking about you in the podcast. Let's introduce the people in the chat. It's going to be a long list. All right, guys. We can hear him. Good. All right. Good. Everybody can hear him. All right. Let's see here. Before we say hi to everybody, thank you for your service. We always like to, acknowledge our veterans on here. We appreciate all that you guys do and sacrifice and all that. So, guys, give them some hands in the chat, please. And we appreciate.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, bud. All right, so people in the chat, we got our moderators, Hobo Nichol BBQ, Steven and Jacqueline's in there. Keith Bettag is always keeping score. Dan for SmokeyGoodness. I think that's Joe Smoking Pit BBQ. Those are our moderators in the chat. Blue Smoke BBQ is in there. How you doing, buddy? Bettag, John Dawson, GT's Barbecue, Jimmy Q, Chef Johnny's in the chat. James from Edmund Claimham are in there. Noobs Barbecue, Dude's Kitchen, Russell from Raspberry Rock, Grill Sergeant, Charlie Baker is in there. And to me, that means that he's skirted getting timed out with the Pickles Barbecue. And he's found his way to add another one in there. Bryan, every once in a while, we have to time out people just for fun. And Charlie gets timed out quite a bit. Larry Highland, I see you in there, buddy. Papa C's Barbecue and Kitchen. What's up? Beard Champ Barbecue. 1984 Barbecue, Big Rome, Eastwood Farms, Josh and Babe are in the chat. Our other moderator, Josh, Bubba K, Texas Made Food, Anderson Smoke Show, Uncle Steve Shake is in there. Daddy Dutch Barbecue is in there. My wife, Melise, is in there. Which Bryan, you haven't met. You know my practice wife, and now you know my real wife in there. So she's in there. Let's see here. La Familia is in there. What's up, Kris? Backwoods Gourmet, who's also a Marine. Says simplify. All right. Simplify. Let's see. Josh and Babe is here. All right. So you guys are both watching. Very cool. Josh, I'll be texting you later. I have a couple questions that I want to chat with you about. Anyway. All right. Food for Men. How you doing, Bruce? Good to see you. All right. So like I said, I think Shane. What's going on, Shane? Sandy Blythe. All right. If I miss you on this round, I'll catch you on the next one. So I wanted Bryan in here because I think he has a lot to say about being a father, manhood, all that good stuff we're teaching our kids. So let's get started with these hard-hitting questions. You ready? You ready, Bryan? Hard-hitting, deep diving. Let's talk about where you're from, where you live, where you grow up, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm in California, Chino Hills, California. Like I said, born and raised in California, and came to Southern California through the Marine Corps, and that's where I met my wife and stayed down here. Loved it. Stayed down here. Her whole family's down here, so that's where I'm at now. And where I do have a day job, so I do work. So I work at a bank, a local bank, and I've been there for 23 years. But aside from all that, like I said, my kids are grown and I'm about to be a full-time empty nester. And my wife and I are looking forward to that. But I wanted to give back to, dads out there. I have a lot of experience in raising two boys and being actively involved with them. And one of my passions is being a dad. And I wanted to be able to give back and share what I'm doing and the things that I'm doing as a dad. And that's why I started the podcast. There's a lot of dads out there that, feel lost sometimes, not sure how to interact with their kids or how to be involved. They're so focused on careers, trying to provide for the family. But look, I did all those things and I was still involved. So my whole point in the podcast is just, if you're lost in areas, I talk to other successful guys that are doing something great on this in their careers or in their life, but also that are successful as fathers. So I talk with them, ask them questions, and they share their experiences. And I'm hoping that maybe, dads out there that are feeling lost or confused or stuck at a situation, they can hear some tips and kind of learn from there.
All right,
so that was kind of the point of the podcast.
Right on. Tom Horseman, I see you in there. How you doing, sir? So, you talked about the wife, the kids, all that stuff. Talk about your little dog. I see that dog in all your videos. Let's talk about, was it Bentley?
Bentley's a riot. He's a little kid. I don't really classify him as a dog. He's got a person inside of him. So he's just got a crazy personality, and he's part of the family. He's been here for 4 years now. So 4 or 5, actually going on 5 years, and he's great. He's a super cool dog.
Yeah, definitely. Mag's got a couple big boys. What's the dog I met when I was out in New Hampshire?
Oh, Mac.
Big old, just sweetheart of a doggy. Where is he in? Is he in your next to you right now?
Hey, Mac.
You got to see this little love.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh,
that is a face a mother can love, right?
Come here, dummy.
That's awesome.
We were in Connecticut last year, and we took a drive up to New Hampshire where Johnny's at, and I got to hang out with him and got to meet the family, the dog, and all that stuff. So cute, man. I love dogs, man. I finally got my own dog, so I got my little smoking buddy Charlie, little pug Frenchie mix. Just the ugliest thing in the world, but you just want to freaking love on him. So, all right. So Jay's rapping. Oh, and by the way, if Andrea wants to come in and say hi at any moment, we're great with fam. Brett wants to come in. Anybody wants to come in, they're more than welcome to. They don't have to. Was it January? I felt like that.
Yes, it was.
I'm being corrected. Sorry, honey.
Thank you, Mrs. CJ.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. CJ. It's funny you call me Justin coming on. None of the people in here know me as Justin.
Right. Right. I'm so used to Justin.
Yeah, that's funny. All right. So, she said you're welcome. She's literally like right here. We have a guest that's usually in the chat, and so we did a little lifetime question for him because he's a huge music fan. So let's talk about what kind of music you're into. Did you ever play any instruments, any bands, any of that stuff? We always like to ask for Mega Fred.
No, I didn't play an instrument.
Nice.
No, I like all kinds of music. I'm actually a big country fan, so
Attaboy.
I'm more into the country music, but I'll listen to a little bit of everything. I'm not a big fan of jazz stuff that'll put you to sleep. I'm not a big fan of that stuff, but your old rock, classic rock, and country. That's kind of the stream that I go.
Right on. All right, so I hope Mega Fred kept that on the replay. Guys, if you have any questions, for our guest here about data, about podcasts in general, any of that stuff, guys, throw it in there at. Is it Johnny Mags in there or Pit Life? Are you in there? What do you
Johnny Mags.
Yeah, put it at Johnny Mags. All right. We got Soul Food Cookies in the house. Mary Luzon, how you doing? Nukem Barbecue. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for being here. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. Share it on your social media. Let's get some butts in the seats. Uncle Steve Shake is in there. I don't know who you talked to. All right, whatever. All right. Johnny, let me know when you get some questions, all right?
Okay.
Grumpus on fire. How you doing, Billy? What's going on, man? All right. So let's just kind of dive into the podcast itself. What I mean, obviously we talked about what got you started, but like physically, what got you started? How did you start the podcast? How did you go about doing that?
Well, it's funny. I was kind of looking for something to do on the side, and I know that my kids are leaving the house soon.
Right.
I wanted to do something else. I wanted coaching. I've been coaching my whole life. I mean, my whole life. I've been coaching since my boy's whole life. And
right.
My younger son's a senior in high school, and I coached him in varsity basketball all the way up till his final game this year. So
right.
I wanted to look for something else to do, and started talking to some people, and somebody made the suggestion that hey, you should do a podcast. And I said, a podcast? I've never even considered a podcast. And they thought, if there's one thing that you can do that you've been successful at, it's been being a dad. And
right.
maybe you should do a dad podcast. And I went, it's literally how it came on. I've never thought about that. So I started doing some research, started talking to there's a lot of dad podcasts out there. I actually hooked up with a couple of the dad podcast guys and kind of asked them questions, see how they got started. And that's kind of how the ball got rolling. I've only been going since about October last year, so it's fairly new. But I've had some pretty good guests on. So,
all right, cool. I noticed. Well, I don't know. Like I know it, but not the group out there. But have you taken any cues from Ed Miley? Like I know he's your brother-in-law. He's had his podcast for a long time. His YouTube channel, his speaking engagements. Have you sat down and was he helpful in getting started with you?
Actually, I went down to his house in Laguna and met with him and chatted about it. And he's one of the ones that suggested that I do the podcast. And he told me, he said, look, it may go somewhere, it may not, but who cares? Do it anyways.
Right.
And he gave me some suggestions, some tips, and told me not to worry about it taking off slowly, because more than likely it will.
Right.
Just keep at it, keep pushing at it, and he gave me a lot of insight. So for sure.
I had thought about that a while ago when I first saw you doing this. I've actually wanted to reach out to Ed just to see how I can improve my setup here. But anyway, so that's kind of more of a question for me. I was just curious. How are you going about finding your guests?
My guests, I do all through social media. So I'll find guys on there that either share family photos or that I know of that are either celebrities or sports athletes that have kids. And I will literally bug them like crazy until they respond to me either with a yes or a no.
That's awesome.
So I hound them. I've had guys that have come on that took me several times of sending them messages, and they're getting millions of people sending them messages, so they're not going to see every single one of them. But right. I just hound people. I drive them crazy until they either say yes or leave me alone. And honestly, of all the guests that I've had on or that I've asked, I've probably had 2 or 3 that have said no.
Right.
Just because their schedules really. So I will through Facebook, through Instagram. I will even Google their agents and email their agents directly and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'd love to hear his input on his experiences as a dad. And it's a 20 to 30 minute call. I can keep it on a short time frame if he needs it. And it's an audio call, so I don't need him to come anywhere. I don't need to go anywhere. We can do it right over the phone, and it's that simple. It's actually pretty easy.
Yeah, right on. I think at some point you'll get to the point where people are calling you.
I actually already have people calling me.
Yeah, that's with our show in our community. Like we're not trying to break down borders. We're not trying to, interview the highest whatever. But I book out 2 or 3 months. I have people ready to go, and I think that's what's going to happen for you. I think you're going to get so popular because you're putting out a quality product for sure. And that's all that matters.
Thanks.
All right. So before we go to the next question, Mags Kent is in the chat. You ready to go? You want to go down the bullpen?
He's in the chat. Yeah.
He's saying no. Hold on real quick. We're going to add my co-host in, and we'll take him out. Hold on. Kent, you don't want to work?
No, let Megs has been looking forward to it. We've been talking. Let him roll tonight. I'm good.
Then why are you waving at me in the bullpen? Why are you wasting my time?
I wasn't waving at you.
That's the way to time him out.
I just timed out Dutch. Love you, buddy. You know we're just playing around. All right, so Long's Quest is in there. Vegas, so I missed Vegas Alley. Dutch is gonna pin flip me so hard. So we have the same when Dutch is in there, he's taking questions from the chat and all that. If I look into the chat and ask a question that he's writing down, throw that pin up in there, walk a race, swing his hair. He's such a bad attitude. Anyway, see Miss Booger's in the house. What's going on, Diane? How you doing? I think I saw a couple other people. Sorry if I missed you. Let's see here. Kent's just looking intently. Guys, if you got any questions, make sure you put them in the chat for Johnny. Let's keep him busy. So out of all the guests you've had, like you said, you've been doing it for a little while now. Who's your favorite guest so far? Or the most interesting and provided you the most info? How about that?
Oh, goodness. That's a good question. I have had actually one of the guys that I just had on, Tyler Baltiera. He is a reality star. He's on a reality TV show with his wife. It's more about her, but it's called Teen Mom. It's on MTV, and they were high school sweethearts. Actually, they all the way through junior high, and they had a young daughter at the age of 16, and because they were so young, they gave her up for adoption. So, since then, they're now in their mid to upper 20s. Since then, they've had a couple more kids, and he doesn't have a whole lot of experience as a dad. But one of the reasons that I really enjoyed my conversation with him is he's kind of had that experience as a very young dad, and going through the process of placing their daughter for adoption at a young age, and the experiences that he had, or the traumatic experiences he had doing that. And he provided a lot of insight, and it's crazy. As a young dad, he's a remarkable young man. He's a remarkable young man. So he was probably one of my favorites.
Well, that's cool, man. Got a couple more people in there. View to a Grill. How you doing, Johnny? See you in there. Kent, I see you in the bullpen. I can't read the sign that you're showing up. You'll have to show me later. He's passing love notes. Oh, there you go. He texted me. Love you too. Oh, what a sweetheart. I wonder what the first part says. You troubling motherfucker. Great. All right. So, Kent, we don't talk about politics on our show, Kent. The text you just sent me was politics related. How about that? Guys, make sure you're hitting the thumbs up. Obviously, it's a different kind of show. No super shots. We're just having a chat. No big deal. Dad up. Talk about the title. Like
Dad up.
Like is it stepping up? Like be a man? Well, give me the background.
It follows along the lines of man up. Like I said, there's dads out there that put their careers as more of a priority than their kids or their families. They get stuck in situations, stressed out, and they turn to career, they turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, or they turn to just going out and being with the guys instead of being there for their kids and family. And the whole point of it is man up. Now it's time for you. You got kids involved. It's time for you to step up. So that's kind of the reason why I came up with Dad Up.
All right. Kind of felt self-explanatory, but yeah. I always like to be clear on it.
Yeah.
Cypress Blue, Laura, how you doing? Good to see you in there. When you're doing your podcast, what are you using for it? Because a lot of people always ask, like, what do you edit? What do you shoot with? Whatever. What are you using for your podcast?
Okay, so good question. I because when I started off, I didn't want to invest a whole lot of money, but I wanted to be able to get a decent enough product out there. And after reaching out to a couple other guys that do a similar podcast, one of the tools that they told me is just use your phone.
Right.
So I record my calls. I make all my calls over my phone. I record them. and then I download them to my Audacity software and do the editing through there. I also have a couple of guys outside of through a service that I utilize through Fiverr, that I have them do the editing for me, so I don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing that, because obviously, editing can take a lot of time.
Well, yeah.
So
if you do the YouTube game like we do, editing takes a long time.
Yeah.
And we were talking about doing a typical cooking video. Just for myself as an example, I have to obviously set up all the ingredients. I set up 2 cameras, set up the microphone, set up lighting, right? Cook it, different angles, take the thumbnail, package it all up, eat it, whatever, clean it up. Then you spend 6 hours editing or whatever it takes. So it's more than just the final product. And it's the same with like the podcast and all that stuff. But Dutch is in the chat now saying editing is easy when you work from home. So
yeah,
it's funny. I actually, dude, he's flexing in the green room. So that's great. I actually do all my editing usually in the evening, once everybody's in bed, and I can just sit there and kind of concentrate on it. And I know it's tough, but it's it's necessary evil, I guess you'd say.
Well, listen, I just my whole point in having somebody else do my editing is I have a Dad Up podcast for a reason. It's to inspire dads to be better dads, right?
Right.
I can't be a dad myself and have a Dad Up podcast if I'm not being the dad that I'm telling everybody to be. So that's why I don't want to spend a whole lot of time editing. I want to give it to somebody else and have them do it. And if it costs me $20 or $30 to have somebody else edit, which it has been, that's what it's been costing me, then that's, and it saves me 6 hours of time, then that's it works.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, I'm with you. I know I have buddies that pay others to edit their videos and all that stuff, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think you have a purpose on what you're doing for it. It's, to me, that's cool with me, man. Like, at all, I have no problem with that at all. How do I put this right? The wording is not coming to me. I'm a dad. I'm busy all the time. I do work. Neither though Dutch doesn't believe I work. I'm running back and forth. I'm doing everything I can. What advice do you give to dads that are just beat down? Just taking on everything and all that stuff, doesn't have the time or doesn't think he can make the time for his kids to do the certain little things.
You have to schedule it.
Schedule the time.
Yeah, you have to schedule it. Just like, listen, you have a job that you have to be at, a certain number of hours a day. You have to commit to other things that deal with the family or outside the family. The bottom line is you have to schedule time with your kids. You have to. And if you don't, it's easy to forget about it. If you go to the gym every day and you work out every day, you typically have a set time that you go work out. And that's you have to do the same thing with your kids. You have to schedule the time. And listen, you don't have to spend hours upon hours with your kids every single day.
Right.
But if you're spending quality time with them and you're talking with them, communicating with them, that makes a world of difference. Yeah.
I think I totally agree with that myself. I have, I have the the challenge of having a blended family where, I don't get to see my boys as often. So when I do see them, I try to make the most out of it. But, I have one son that's just Zachary. Obviously, you haven't seen him in 100 years.
Right.
He's 13 now, and
That's crazy.
He's every bit of a teenager. Just wants to hide in his room, play on his phone, don't talk to anybody. And that, to me, is a challenge to get him. My little guy, Brady, who's 11, he wants to be in the video, or he's 10. Him, Brady, he wants to help out in the kitchen. Him and my stepson, Grady, they're like, so Grady and Brady, you'll figure that one. They're little monkeys, and they have a great time together, and they want to help me in the kitchen and all that stuff. Obviously, we have another teenager, Avery, who's our daughter. She's pretty much a teenage girl too. She hides, and I don't want to talk to us. So, and Trent, Trent just comes and goes as he please now. He's a full-on adult in college. It's insane, man.
Is he home?
Yeah, he's home. They kicked everybody out of Fullerton on yesterday, I believe. So he had to go back and get everything from the dorm, but they shut down the dorms completely.
So they shut down the dorms too, huh?
Yeah.
Because Blake's school shut down, and he's home for spring break this week, but his school he goes to Grand Canyon University.
Yeah.
His school shut down as well, but they're allowing students to stay on campus and in their apartments or their dorms through the end of the semester. So he's actually going to go back this next weekend, and he works at the Vitamin Shop. He's a manager there in Arizona.
Oh, good.
So he's going to go back, put in some more hours, and kind of hang out a little bit, do his online classes right from his apartment, and then he'll probably come home in a couple weeks for good.
Yeah, right on. Trent's going to do online. Yeah, I assume for the rest of the year. He actually just got a job at Stater Brothers. He had a job at Angel Stadium, but the Angels ain't playing right now. So he went to Stater's down the street, and they hooked him up with a job. He starts Friday, so at least he got out there and did something. But I'm seeing – I just got a pop-up right now from the news. Gavin Newsom is to make a major announcement in the daily briefing on California's coronavirus response. So I'm sure more crap's coming down the line. How are you? Okay, so don't say the words, okay? Because if you put anything that has to do with that C virus anywhere, anything, YouTube shuts you down. So how are you handling that with the family? You got your boys. Brett's home. What are you doing differently?
Andrea's, she's a teacher, so she's doing online teaching right now. So she does a webcam directly with her students from the comfort of our dining room table. It's actually more work than going into the class. Brett is doing online, and Blake will be doing online. He's, like I said, he's on spring break right now, but he will be doing online. As far as myself, my office is still business as usual. We're looking at implementing remote access, but when you work at a bank, it's a little harder to get remote access just because of all the firewalls and restrictions we have to have to protect the bank. But I'm setting my staff up right now with remote access in case we decide to shut down or go limited staff, week on, week off kind of deal. But as far as the family goes, we're kind of locked in place. We're sitting at home. The boys have been sitting at home. Whether it's, at this point, I don't care if they're playing video games or whatnot. They can go out and, go for a run or something like that. But we're restricting any other activities like going to the gym or going to the pool or, doing any types of things. So they're it's kind of driving them crazy. Yeah,
I'm sure. And, as a dad, as a father, what are you saying? You're the head of the household. Like, I just did a video yesterday about my feelings about the whole thing. I'm the big dog. I'm the one, the provider. I'm the protector. What are you saying to your family when it comes to that stuff?
When it comes to this kind of thing, it's, my kids they're adults. They understand what's going on. So I don't have to teach them a whole lot. They can kind of see what's going on just from the TV, from the news and the media and what they're reading. But in talking to them, it's more about, hey, whether we think this is being blown out of proportion or not, we still have to take precautions. It's better to be safe than sorry. And with my wife, who's a type 1 diabetic, I can't afford, and we can't afford for her to get sick. So we have to take every precaution that we can. And the boys understand that. They know that. Blake he's a diehard gym freak. He's at the gym two times a day at least. And right now he's not going because he understands that he cannot afford to bring anything home for his mom. So they understand it.
Yeah, that's good. I had to have a man-to-man moment with Trent yesterday because he told me he went to the mall with his girlfriend over last weekend. I'm like, bro, where's your head at? You know, just because you're young and you think you can beat it down, and it's like the spring breakers in Florida right now still doing their thing. You got to be smart. It's not just yourself. You're looking out for everybody. Your grandma, you still go visit your grandma. You know, your old man. You know, I'm old. You know, it'll affect me. You know, so. You know, our stepson just got done. You know, he beat cancer last year, and we can't chance him getting sick. You know, so you know, Mrs. CJ is asthmatic. You know, just all that stuff is like, you got to be smart. You can't just think about yourself. So everybody who's watching, you got to think about everybody else. All right. So just think about that and wash your hands. Wash your hands. I can't believe that's a conversation we're having in 2020, but wash your hands. Yeah. And you don't need 14,000 rolls of toilet paper. Worst comes to worst. Do the deed, jump in the shower.
I already had this. I had that conversation.
do the deed, and you can wash a wash rag, you know, whatever. So just think about it, you know, try. I think a person is smart. People are dumb. I've heard that. You know, I know that's you know, I've heard that somewhere. But a group of people are not smart. But you, as a rational person, you know that you can just jump in the shower and no big deal. But they're clearing out the toilet paper like there's no tomorrow. So.
I went to Target this afternoon just to grab ink for my printer at home, and I couldn't believe the amount of shelves that are empty. I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Yep. So. I'm with you, man. I've gone to the store a few times, just kind of because it's hit or miss right now.
Right.
You know, it's like, I need some bread. Well, okay, well, the bread's not there, but you know, there's a package of I don't know, hot dogs. Mags was talking about hot dogs there. So while I'm there, I'm gonna grab a package of hot dogs, and then I'll go back tomorrow and get some bread. You know, it's not that hard. So just be smart. You know,
it's just that, you know what? At the end of the day, it's more of just an inconvenience.
Yeah,
you know?
It is.
Just be safe, and it's a little bit of an inconvenience. We just gotta weather through the storm, and we'll get there.
Yeah, I agree. Uncle Steve's put in there. He has 3 little daughters. He's like, tell them we got 4 things to be happy: roof, clothing, food, and someone that loves them. You know, I got your back. I always will. I'm with you. Like, I will. I've already told Trent. You know, if shit goes down, grab your brothers and bring them here. I'm like, we got everything under control. You know?
Right.
Mags, what are you laughing at over there?
GT Barbecue and Cuisine wants to know, can I ask a couple questions?
Well, yeah, I'd love it. I haven't seen any questions go by, but if you have some questions, please ask.
I have a few. One in particular from GT Barbecue and Cuisine.
Well, why don't you ask a question?
I can't get in a word with you. Listen, it's crazy here because I can't hear.
Do I need to put you out on timeout?
I can't hear Bryan.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know when he stops or what he's even saying. So I kind of have the actual feed on YouTube up a little bit so I don't get any echo here.
Right.
I'm all messed up right now.
Hey, I appreciate your hard work, though, man.
That's it. So I'm going to take a minute.
You going to take a minute with him right now?
Yeah, I'm going to take a minute. I got a couple questions.
All right.
All right.
I beg your pardon.
Well, actually, the first one, I have to get it out, or Dutch will never have me sit in for him. This is actually for you. Is Charlie's middle name Baker?
No, it's his last name.
No, you're Charlie.
Oh. Yeah, our dog is named Charlie.
Okay.
No, I don't think we give him enough. I'll have to ask the daughter what the middle name is, but no, it's not Charlie Baker.
Hobo asked a question, and like I said, I can't really hear anything. Does he also like Western? So
you like country music? You like country and Western music?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
But now back to GT's Barbecue and Cuisine. Do you have a grill or cook barbecue at all?
Me?
Yeah.
Question for me?
Yeah.
I do, but I'm not a professional barbecue master like these guys.
Well,
I have your standard Home Depot gas grill.
All right, so Mags, he's got a gasser. He's got a gasser. You know, when you talk to Mags, you don't use Oz. You do not use eyes. You get smock pock. You get smock pock, and that's what you do. Yeah, so he does a gasser. You know what the thing is a lot of people don't know this. Well, why would they? But Bryan's brother-in-law, Tom, actually has a YouTube channel called California Griller. And last year before, he was trying to get going, and I was trying to help him out. But, you know, he's such a busy dude, too.
Yeah.
That he kind of lost the fire for that. But if you talk to him, you smack him in the back of the head and say, get back on that grill. He has some of the nicest grills, and he spent some money over there.
He did. He
Yeah.
did. When I saw the one of his grills the first time, and he told me how much he spent on it, I was like, oh my goodness. I'm not that into it yet.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's an addiction, buddy. Like, you know, I mean, there isn't a lot of good barbecue in Southern California. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
I've been all over the joint, you know, all over the country looking for good barbecue, and nothing. I mean, there's one place around the corner from here that's okay, you know, like, you know, we'll eat it, it takes it. But I've found through the years hanging with my buddies on here and, you know, YouTube University, all that stuff, that I cook better barbecue than what I could find around here. And that's not being like, you know, braggadocious. It's true. You know, it's just that's why I started, you know, CJ's Q. So one of the moderators throw that link in the chat. Make sure you subscribe. You see how that worked that in there? All right. Big Cat 305's in there. What's up, buddy? Jay's rapping. I think I shouted you out, but welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. Soul Food Cooking, I saw you. Suburban Jim, I saw you in there too. Thank you guys for being here. Missed the teeny tiny pimp hat. Jim, I'm sorry. I'll rock it next week, I promise. Let's see here. Yeah, thank you, Steven. The link to Bryan's podcast is in the chat now. It's on Apple. It's anywhere you can find podcasts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I have it on my phone.
They can follow me on my Instagram page at Coach B Ward, and my link tree is in there. They can click on that and get everything.
Right. All right. So anybody wants to find the Instagram page, I did not link that. I'm sorry. Coach B Ward.
Yep.
Check it out. That's where he puts all his dad up stuff.
Yep.
We need to talk about you starting your own Instagram page for Dad Up. I think it's about time, man. We need to make that happen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Carrie's in there. How you doing, Carrie? V8 chick. Welcome.
Hey, CJ.
Yeah, babe.
Did you just answer? Jimmy Q had a question. Is Bryan's podcast only available on Apple iTunes? Did you just go over that?
No, I just was saying you could get it on iTunes. Is it available everywhere, Bryan?
Yeah, it should be available everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere you can get podcasts.
Yeah, it's not just iTunes. So, all right, thank you guys for putting my new channel in there. I appreciate it. I hope everybody in the chat subscribed to it, though. I saw another question roll by. You get it?
I got one from Uncle Steve.
Yeah.
It is, do you find it helps in talking to dads to explain that sometimes it's easier to see what's real from the outside?
Yes. And here's the thing. When you're talking to these other dads, you're getting their real life experiences as a dad. So they're not sugarcoating anything. So it's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to dads that are successful in their careers and in life, people that other people would know. Is they have such busy schedules themselves that I want them to be able to share their real life experience as being a dad. And some of them have shared some pretty intimate stories. So.
He's done with his answer, Max.
Okay. I'm getting the echo on my own end. It's my own fault. But Bryan, I just some of the guests you've had on, and first off, I'm really enjoying your podcast, and I'm glad was able to find out about your podcast ahead of time.
Awesome.
But some of the guests, like Coach Ron Haywood, was a fantastic episode. Shea Hillenbrand, obviously he played for the Sox for a number of years.
Yep.
But Hayden Hawk, the ultra marathoner, a couple other athletes. It's I don't want to sound sentimental or soft over it, but I think what you're doing is really fantastic because as, dads and like you were saying earlier, CJ, you're the big dog, especially in a situation like this. We're the big dogs of the family. You need to take care of business, make sure everyone's safe. But we don't really show a softer side to it. Mm-hmm. And there is always like a doubt, are we doing the best we can as a father? Are we setting a good example? And what you're doing with this podcast is it's hit home a bunch of, I guess, doubts I might have had or questions against myself. So, first and foremost, thank you.
Oh, thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. It's,
he says thank you, appreciate it, all that stuff. And you got any more questions there, Max?
No, that was it.
All right. Well, he appreciates you, and I appreciate you. You're
I'm
damn
trying
good
to like help
man,
you.
dude. I'm just saying, you're a sweetheart too. Not saying that Kent isn't a sweetheart or a damn good-looking man himself. Let's see if he pops his head up. No. All right, guys. Again, make sure you're checking out the podcast. All right, I know this is gonna generalize it, but to you, what makes a great dad?
What makes a great dad is somebody that's involved, committed, loving, caring. Somebody that's not easily we can all be easily distracted, but somebody that knows that, listen, you have young minds that are watching your every move, and a great dad realizes that, and a great dad recognizes that, and a great dad will know, hey, this is the time that I need to focus on my kids, and everything else is taking a back seat. So that's a great dad.
Yeah. I agree. When has these last few months of doing this podcast kind of opened your eyes to past mistakes or things you wish you could have done differently? Anything like that come to mind?
It's funny. I have nobody's perfect. Being a dad, we don't have. You hear it all the time. We don't have a manual on how to be a good dad.
Right.
There's no owner's manual. So we have to go off of our experiences from others, our experiences from our own dads, and try to just be that role model for them that they really need. And one of the things that stands out to me is my communication with my kids. My communication hasn't always been on point. We get stressed out real easily. We have a lot of things going on, and you know what? Kids can test you, and and one of the most challenging things that I had to face as a dad is, how do I communicate with my kids? And it's one of the things that I'm learning about now. You know what? There's a lot of things that I did or said or could have done differently as a father that I kind of regret that I didn't do. Yeah. And so I messed up in those areas, but it's no reflection of how my kids have turned out. They've turned out great,
I agree.
And a lot of that has been because of my wife. She's been so supportive of how involved I've been and the things that I do with them. But it's crazy that the way that you communicate with your kids is so important. And it doesn't matter what kind of level they're at, as far as if they're having a bad day, if they're throwing a temper tantrum, they're young kids throwing a temper tantrum, or they're giving you back talk. You have to watch how you communicate with them, because they're learning that. That's learned behavior. So it's important that we communicate effectively with our kids, and that's one of the things that I've learned in just the last few months.
Right on. Now, I've always been I was raised by a dad that, I was raised by my mom quite a bit, but my dad and that whole side of the family was very loving, huggy, the whole bit. A lot of dads feel that they can't show that kind of love to their kids. I hug and kiss my boys all the time. Whatever. How do you find that a lot of dads are like that too, where they need to be kind of like the strong arm, no emotion, shit like that, stuff like that, whatever.
Yeah. It just depends on you and your kids, really.
Yeah.
Some kids will appreciate that or accept that. Other kids are like, oh, Dad, that's not cool. You got to give them the boundaries or the space that they need. But at the same time, you know what? When I got home from work today, I put my stuff down. I was getting ready for this, and first thing I did, I walked in the door. I gave my wife a kiss, and I walked over and gave Brett a kiss on the forehead. So it's just I don't do that a lot with them. Because they're not into that. That's not their side, their kind of affection that they want from their dad.
Right.
But I try to do it as much as I can. But it just depends on the child and the dad.
Yeah, and I think my own example is Trent's a big hugger. He'll give me a big, solid hug for extended amount of time, whatever. Just let me know he's there. But Zach, I have to like throw his arms around me. Like, come on.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
So
when I saw, when I walked in the door and gave Brett a kiss on my head and went and I saw Blake, I said, hey, how was your day? And I gave him a fist bump, because if I hug him, he'll hug me, but he'll be like, what do you want? What are you doing? So I gave him a fist bump. So, it's just, you gotta work to their personalities too.
Yeah, I agree. See here, Ricer's in there. Dead Broke Barbecue. What's going on, buddy? Trying to think what else. We have
another one if you need it.
What's up? You got a question?
Oh yeah.
All right, go for it, bud.
Actually, I actually got two.
Oh.
The Dude's Kitchen and Grill. Since the coronavirus, has Bryan seen a difference in how dads are acting towards their kids? Has it changed since the kids are home, or is it still too early to tell?
Well, some of the dads that I've interviewed, I've had a couple interviews over the last week. And really, it's just their whole role right now is just hunkering down and keeping safe and trying to keep the kids entertained, because they go to school online for so many hours of the day, and the rest of the time they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs. So you got to think of things to do with them at the house. But I haven't seen a huge problem with it. Dads are just trying to protect their families, and they're just, what? We're told to hunker down and try to avoid going out as much as possible, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I think if anything, you'll see a lot more dads, moms, whatever, showing a bit more love, holding them a little bit tighter. So rough times, it's scary for everybody.
Right.
I'm nervous for the whole stuff that's going on. We've talked about it. It's something we got to be, the leaders of the family, and we're gonna roll with it. Usually, I keep politics and religion off the show, but because it's such a polarizing subject either way. But I know you're a man of faith. Talk about how that's kind of helped you or guided you in this, new process. Was it a calling that you felt was given to you by the Lord or anything like that, or is it just you're using it as an example now?
I've actually thought about this, Justin. I was going to
call you Justin. It's fine. Call me Justin.
I've actually thought about this, and he works in crazy ways, and he opens up opportunities when you least expect it.
Yeah.
But this opportunity came about last October, and I was in the last season, or starting the last season, of coaching my son at high school basketball. So right. now that chapter is done in coaching my own kids, I think there's a real reason why, the Lord wanted me to do this at this time.
Right.
The idea never came about years ago. It came about the last couple months. So I really honestly believe that he did that on purpose.
Yeah. Are you using any of his teachings that you learned throughout the years as like a question guide, a guest guide, anything like that?
No, but and here's why. Some people are sensitive when they talk about their faith. So I didn't want to drive it towards a kind of a faith-based podcast. But in saying that, I have had pastors on.
Right.
So I just had a pastor on a couple weeks ago. I just posted it, I think, last week, and he's a pastor at a congregation in Tulsa, Oklahoma, a very huge congregation. And so I do want to have a wide range of guests, and some of those guests do include pastors. Now I want to hear their perspective on how they raise their kids in a faith-based environment.
Right. All right, good. Mags, did you have more than the other question?
Yeah, I got one question and one comment. We'll run the comment real quick. Kris from La Familia. The biggest thing is having cooperation from mom as well. Sometimes I don't, and that bothers me. It's not easy with 4 kids.
Right.
So he's got that little, you need the little give and take, on you, whether, your wife or your ex-wife, right. You got the kids, you're in it together.
Yeah.
Right. Listen, that's
so, I thought that was a great point. Then Grumpus on Fire asked, why the podcast, and what made you go the podcast route instead of the YouTube route?
Right.
Okay. Let me address the first comment first, if you don't mind, about husbands and wives need to be on the same page. That's super important when raising kids. You guys have to be on the same page. And if you're not, you have to be able to check in with your spouse away from your kids and say, hey, look, we have a goal and a mission here to raise these kids to be the best kids that they can be, or best human beings that they can be. We have to be on the same page. If there's something that we disagree on, then we need to come off to the side and talk about it away from them, and then come to a mutual understanding of how we're going to handle a particular situation.
Yeah,
so it's super important.
United front.
What's that? Yeah,
United front. Yeah,
for sure. Now, as far as the podcast goes, I may go down the road of YouTube eventually. I want to, because I'm so new to it. As far as when I started off in October, I was so new to it. I didn't know anything about it. So I wanted to start off as easy as possible and work my way into it. I know other dads out there that have podcasts, have gone the YouTube route. And for right now, because of my work schedule and time with my family, I want to try to make it as easy as possible for me to be able to work this in and not affect my daily life. Later on down the road, for sure. I'm already been considering doing a YouTube channel as well. But for right now, podcast is where I'm at.
Right on. I think it's definitely something you should consider. Setting up this whole setup here is relatively easy. And
I definitely need to talk to you about it.
Yeah. I'll help you anytime you're ready, dude. And I'll come down there as soon as we can leave our houses. I'll come visit and show you how to do it. Guys, kind of side note, our governor just locked down the city or the state. So that's fun. The governor of California places the state under lockdown, ordering 40 million residents to stay at home to prevent the spread of the coronavirus. So looks like we're going to be doing some more working from home, and that sucks, man. It's a little nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to play out for me. Like I said, my office my IT department's already implementing some plans of they're actually getting us set up now to do remote access from home. But nothing as of today, nothing further has been discussed about it. And other than if it does happen, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I work for a mortgage company, not a bank. So it's a little bit different for us. But a couple of weeks ago, I had one of my employees is a type 1 diabetic, and he's like, "I'm not comfortable anymore. Can I go home?" And we're paperless, so it's easy to fund loan from home. So I started sending all my people home, through the next couple of days. So it just is what it is.
Right.
At least no one will be pooping in the streets. That's right, Kris. No one will be. Let's see, Ramona's in the chat. Kent's in the bullpen, and he'll jump in whenever he wants to. I texted him to see when he wanted to come on, but he's ignoring my text. Let's see here. All right, so now we kind of got through all the fun podcast questions, live questions, whatever. Now we're gonna get into the fun and silly questions. All right, so I hope you're ready for this. And it's kind of apropos of this question of what's going on right now. And hey, zombie apocalypse happens. What's one item you grab from the kitchen, and where do you go hide?
Goodness. I think I grab my. Besides people.
Well, yeah, people fend for themselves, man. Come
on. I think I grab my. I have a secret stash of candy.
Nice. Boy.
I think I grab my candy and probably hunker down in probably my garage.
All right, cool. A lot of people, go instantly like chef knives, but there's a couple of the people I've interviewed and asked that question where they actually have guns in their kitchen. And one showed it, like, I'm gonna take this rifle, I'm gonna go sit over there and pick off people, So let's see here. Ramona's in the chat, and we've decided to have a lifetime question for her. We call her Miss Mona. So usually it's we ask the question to a cooking challenge, one chef you'd want to be mentored by. So I'm changing it up a little bit for you. What's one celebrity, podcaster, life coach, whatever you'd want to be mentored by?
Beside or a cooking coach?
No. I'm just talking about life coach. Like, you're obviously in a different genre than like cooking. So like, my thought process for you would be like, it's too easy to say Ed Milet, but someone like that.
Well, who I was going to say was my brother-in-law, Ed Milet. So aside from that, if I had to go cooking, I'd probably go Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri? I love it. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So while you're getting mentored by Ed, next time you go down there, stop by my house, or I'll come by and pick you up. I miss hanging out with you guys, like you, Ed, JT, Fredneck, and I was hoping he'd be in here too.
Crazy group of guys.
Yeah, Troy, Pete, the whole bit, man. I miss. It's hard to do, but to keep the 7 or 8 of us and all our kids on one team for so long.
Yeah,
real friendships that have lasted.
Steve Dunn.
Yeah, Steve Dunn. Sorry, go ahead, Max.
If only you knew somebody who knew how to run a grill and have all the boys over for a little catch-up session. Just saying.
I could do that too. Hopefully we can get Ed up here. But we're not flying to Iowa, kid. No, we're not going to Iowa. But I would love to figure that out and get everybody together. JT's been to the house. He went hunting and brought some ducks that he shot over, and I cooked them on the channel.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'd love to get everybody back together one time.
It's funny. I had, you remember Scotty, right?
Yeah.
I chat with him every once in a while, but he had mentioned to me, and we kind of chatted about it for a minute. We should do a reunion ball game.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun, man.
With the boys now, they're all pretty much adults, and against the dads, our old butts out there running.
Oh my gosh,
How much fun would that be?
That would be so awesome. Do a little barbecue afterwards, hang out by the pool. I'm in. Let's make it happen this summer once we get rid of this virus crap, and we'll do it. All right, so this is a question that we open up to the whole chat. But so get ready for some odd answers. But if Hollywood were going to make a movie about you, your podcast, your life, whatever, who do you think would play you, or who would you like to play you in that Hollywood movie?
John Gruden.
That's a good freaking answer right there. Little Chucky in there.
Little
All
Chucky.
right, guys. Throw it out there. Miley
diehard-
Cyrus. Someone timeout pickles
Raider
again.
fan
Get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus. Kirk Schilling. I can see it. Let's see here. I'm waiting for the chat to catch up because we have a little bit of delay. Justin Timberlake. Good job. Good job. Everybody knows I like Justin Timberlake, so they throw it out there. Slim Shady. How about that one, buddy? Oh my goodness. You guys are insane. All right, I think we've lost the play all. All right, so not that we wish this is your dude number 3 in a cap. What the hell? Peter Fonda? Oh, that's interesting. Not that we wish this is your last night on Earth or anything like that, but what would your last meal on Earth be?
Oh, I have to go with a steak.
All right. What kind, though? You got to be specific.
Ribeye?
All right. If you say anything more than medium rare, you might get booted.
No, it's no medium rare for sure. Maybe even closer to the rare side.
Attaboy. All right, good. All right, Mags, you got any questions?
No, they're pretty much all done. Actually, from my end, as a podcaster myself, do you, Bryan, do you find that consistency is key? Obviously consistency with YouTube, the YouTubers is key. That people kind of expect, if you do one video a week, they expect one video a week. Like CJ usually kind of does a foodie grill and a barbecue one, so there's 2. You're kind of expecting it. With me, we have a show once a week, and the importance is making sure that show goes off every, in my case, Tuesday at 5:00. Whether I have to pre-record a show to have in the bank in case something happens and we can't make it to the show, that it goes out to the viewers and listeners every week. Do you find that the same thing?
Yes, and it's one of the challenges that I found in doing the podcast. I'm between doing everything else that I'm doing, between the coaching of the basketball team and being home with the family and also working my full-time job. It's hard to balance all of it, but at the same time, I'm trying to I don't have a specific day like you. I started to do like a Monday, Tuesday, but my goal is if I can get a show out every single week, at least one, then I think I'm doing okay.
Right.
I haven't fallen off where I haven't had a show on at least once a week. I'm starting to get backed up now on shows. So I do have some that are edited, that are ready to go. Like I already have another one that's ready to go, but I'm not going to post it because I just posted one yesterday or the day before yesterday. So I'm going to hold off on that one until probably this weekend. I'll probably post it. And then I have a couple more that are already in the pipe ready to go. So I'm trying to do at least one a week.
Very cool. And it's good, like you said, to have them stocked up and stockpiled.
Yeah.
For a while there, I had 10, 11 videos just waiting to go.
Right.
And it makes things easier, especially. And I know this one, like when we go out of town or any kind of trips or whatever, I always make sure I have 2 or 3 edited, ready to go, scheduled, the whole bit.
Right. Yeah, you never know what's going to come up in the day or in the week that can sidetrack you from doing this. So, it's one of those things where you have to, if you have that stuff set aside where it's ready to go, then if any hiccup that comes along the way that'll prevent you from doing a podcast, you can actually just post one and it's all set. It does take me a while to post them though, because I do them on all my different feeds, between Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I put them on LinkedIn. I put them everywhere. So it takes a little bit of time. It takes me about an hour or so to get them all out. But, it's all right.
The social media side of it it's like you said, 45 minutes, hour, whatever. For us, a lot of us share our videos or the podcast links or whatever in different groups. So in Facebook, I'm a part of like 130 groups. and they're specific to whatever thing I'm working on. Like if I'm grilling on something, it's it's on the Weber, it's going to that group. I'll put it in a bunch of groups. Or same thing with the Ninja Foodie Grill, whatever. All that stuff has a specific place.
And you find that's okay? You find those groups allow it?
Some don't.
Right.
What I try to do is reach out to admin of the groups and be like, look, I'll be involved. I'm with everything, but would you be cool if I put in there, put my video link? Right. And so I've learned which ones let it go or don't. Some will let me put the link in, but they want the recipe and the prep. So I type that out on my videos anyway, so it's just a cut and paste job. But I have 3 Instagram pages now, have a Facebook fan page, my own Facebook thing, all those groups, Twitter, Pinterest, anything you can get. The LinkedIn for me, I've tried it a couple times. It doesn't do much for me because it's not cooking related. It's not, it's very, it wasn't worth the time. But Mags, I saw another question roll through. You want to ask it real quick?
Yeah, I got one, and I need a favor from you.
What's up?
For about 300 seconds, can you take Dutch's wrench away from him for a second?
Oh, I don't know. That's asking a lot right there, buddy.
Okay. I figured I'd try because he said hashtag Mags' podcast is always late.
Oh, damn. You know what? How about we do this? Let's
let it go.
Let's bring him in. Dutch, what do you have to say about yourself or for yourself?
Well, I didn't say Johnny Mags. I said Pit Life BBQ. And
I am Pit Life BBQ.
No, you're not.
Oh, yes, I am.
You're part of it. I blamed it on Messy Mike.
So,
oh, God, that was close.
Did you almost spin it over the computer?
It's the wife's computer in front of me. I can't ruin it.
No, I blame everything on Mike.
All right, so on Johnny's podcast, he has a co-host named Messy Mike. We actually interviewed those two a while back, and we do some drinking on here sometimes. And Messy Mike was at some point taking the bottle to the head, and in the after show, which you just hang on where you're at, but we invite other people to jump in after it's not live. It's just a hangout afterwards. Yeah. At some point, Messy Mike, went down for the count, and all you hear is Johnny Mads going, "Down goes Frazier! Down goes Frazier!" So anyway, Dutch, say hi to Bryan.
Hey, Bryan. Been here most of the night. Been listening. Really like what you're doing. Great job.
Thank you very much, brother. Nice to meet you.
And we do have.
Go ahead.
All right. We do have one more question from Miss Mona. Bryan, who was your favorite TV show dad growing up?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Probably Tim Allen.
Oh, yeah.
Home Improvement.
Home Improvement. More power. And to this day, I still say, I don't think so, Tim, when any bullshit starts happening. I don't think so, Tim. And no one gets it at all. All right. Kent, do you have any questions, anything like that?
No, I've been having too much fun timing out pickles, to be honest with you.
I dig it. He says he's back. I'm just saying. Oh, Major Dad.
Oh, yeah?
I remember that one. That was a good one, too.
Yeah.
Major Dad, yeah.
All right, so we have a question that we'd like to ask. Hey, Kurt from Kirby BBQ Seasonings. What's up, Kurt? Who would be on your personal Mount Rushmore? 4 people you love and admire. Don't have to be relatives, but one has to be your wife. And go.
One is definitely my wife. Elvis Presley.
I dig it.
Huge Elvis Presley fan. John Gruden, Gotta
You're
go
a
Jack.
Gruden guy, huh?
I'm a huge Gruden fan. And then the late Dale Earnhardt.
Dude, Kent, show him your arm.
Oh, love it.
That a boy.
Love it. Hey, I'll tell you what. I'm trying to get Dale Jr. on.
Dude, that'd be insane, man.
He's a brand new dad, but I'm trying to get him on. I've been trying to work him.
That's awesome, man.
That would be a signature guest for sure, right there in my book. So I grew up around racing. So
yeah.
So Jet D, welcome behind the garage barbecue. What's up, guys? Appreciate it. So are you a Raiders fan?
Raiders fan. True and true.
Did you know that this year I became a Raiders fan?
Did you really?
Yes, I converted. I'll explain. Miss J, the road to good cooking, put a $25 super shot. This is for your shut-in sip. CJ, stay prayed up, stay safe, be blessed, Miss CJ and Sophie. Mrs. J, appreciate you, love you. I'm sorry we're not going to make it out to Vegas in April, probably. So cheers to you. We'll take a shut-in sip for you. Miss J is just a great person overall, and she's a big prayer warrior. And when we were having issues with Grady and the cancer, or Miss CJ with her knee or whatever, big prayer warrior. So I love it. Let's see here. All right, so Raiders.
Yes.
I don't have a pro team. Never had a pro team. You know, I'm a big SC fan, but I never had a pro team. So when the Raiders became the Las Vegas Raiders, I'm a huge Vegas fan, right? Everything Vegas. Yeah. So so I now have a pro team, and I'm a Vegas Raiders fan. So I put it on all my social media. So if they actually do good at some point, I could say I wasn't a bandwagon fan. I've been a fan from the jump in Vegas.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. Well, welcome aboard.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. So, buddy, I think we're coming to the end of it, man. I'm glad you got to kind of meet my friends and meet everybody in the chat and let them get to know you a little bit. I'd love to have you on in a year or so and see where you take this and what we can do with it. Maybe at that point you'll be on YouTube and we can do a little collaboration and get a lot more dads in the chat and all that stuff. So let's talk about that. In the end, Mags, you got anything to say on the way out?
No, obviously, thanks for having me. Thinking of me to fill in. I wish my setup here was a little better because to hear at least on my phone from the video aspect and to be able to keep up with everything. But, I tried like hell. Bryan, thank you for everything you do on your podcast. Like I said, I subscribed the other week, and I'm probably about halfway through your catalog right now, and it's really great stuff. And,
cool.
It can definitely help out a guy whether they want to admit they feel this way or not. Right. But thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for your service as a Marine. We appreciate it. And to everyone watching and listening, be safe out there. Be smart about what you're doing. And together we're going to, CJ, your video yesterday was right on the thing. We need to stand together with this. Be smart, be strong, help your neighbor out, help the elderly out. Just be human beings again. Right. Not this separation stuff, but, thoughts and prayers to everybody. Stay safe.
Right on. Amen. All right, Kent, go ahead. Miss J asked you to do something. Make it happen.
Oh, Mona's just talking, and Kris thinks they're saggy, but whatever. Kris got time.
Everybody, hey, all you guys, just flex your dads. Just get your flex on, man. Flex for the team. All right, Kent, you got anything to say on the way out, bud?
Now, Bryan, hey, really a pleasure listening to you tonight. we'll be checking out the podcast. I didn't know about it until yesterday. CJ doesn't fill me in until last minute. So, or sorry, Justin. And as Charlie Baker or Pickles says in the chat, Justina.
Yeah, that'll get them booted for forever, not just 300 seconds.
Right.
All right. So, Bryan, say a little something on the way out. And,
listen, first of all, thank you very much for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. CJ, I love you, brother, and I really appreciate the invite. And hey, anytime that I can share and talk about what I'm doing as far as the dad and the podcast, I'm all for it. But listen, you guys are doing awesome. CJ, I haven't seen Dutch Daddy Barbecue's work yet, and Johnny Mags, I haven't seen your podcast yet, but I'm gonna check it out. Obviously, Justin, I know what you're doing, and you're obviously doing great things. But listen, I really appreciate you guys letting me come on and just kind of share a little bit about and answer some questions for you. It means a lot to me. It really does. Anything to help everybody out there become better dads. But yeah, we're in tough times right now, but we're gonna get through it. And you know what? These are times right now that you can really be spending even more quality time with your kids. So make use of it for sure. But listen, I love you guys, and really a pleasure meeting you guys. And thank you very much for having me on.
You're welcome, buddy. Just stay where you're at, though. Okay.
Right.
So everybody, I hope you guys got a little something out of this. Like I said, it's not our normal guest or a normal setup, but I hope you got a little bit out of there. Mags, thank you so much for filling in, buddy. Kent, I love you, brother. Bryan, thank you so much for being here. It's been far too long since we've got to hang out, so I hope we can work this out and hang out again. I love what you're doing. Keep it up. I love you too, man, and I'm here for you if you need anything, and I know vice versa. Give the family some love for me. I hope they got a chance to watch this and see you do some talking and talk about it. But great job tonight, okay? Next week, provided that the world hasn't come to an end yet, our guest will be Kris from Eastwood Farms. I actually have a lot of questions for him about the airline industry, so I can't wait to have him on. I hope you remember that he's on because I see him in the chat. So, Miss J, everyone stay prayed up. We'll get through this. No worries for sure. Keep a positive mindset. Help out those who can't help themselves. I know you got some toilet paper stocked up, so if someone needs some, you share it, all right? Other than that, guys, great show, Bryan. Thank you so much for being on. Mags, Dutch, appreciate you guys. Everybody in the chat, love you so much.